Brian Pillman does an interview with Steve Austin, and Austin is starting a push here for a match against Bret Hart. Is the creative team under the assumption that Bret at this point is coming back, or are you hoping that we can just sort of speak it into existence?
There's a lot of hope.
Had it been clearly communicated, because I know they did the Kuwaiti tour and they worked together, that Bret, should he come back, should he sign, would want to do something with Steve Austin, that would be his opponent of choice?
That was his opponent of choice, and that was also the natural just progression. And I don't know if we had done something with Steve yet at this point in Bret, but that was somebody that Bret definitely wanted to work with, and also looking at to further Steve. At that point, everybody wanted to work with Steve. Steve was the guy. Sean had, gone around and worked with Steve and was like, put me in a program with that guy. Everybody wanted to work with Steve.
So, from the Observer, Bret Hart was originally scheduled to return for the 9/22 Mind Games pay-per-view to do an interview segment which would lead to an angle to build up his match with Austin. However, that has yet to be announced for the show, and we've received unconfirmed reports that Hart will still be in South Africa filming the new Sinbad television show. Do you remember that being the original plan, that you wanted to tease the interview segment? Because it was certainly plugged on TV and promoted that way, that we were going to get an answer, and then sort of shuffled aside. Is this the left hand not talking to the right hand, or did you take it as more of a Bret trying to negotiate a little more?
No, it was a scheduling conflict. It was one thing where they needed to do more shooting down there, and Bret needed to stay longer. It was at one point, yeah, hey man, I can make it. And then another point, oh shit, shooting's behind, I got to stay.
I got you. Let's mention.
I know the truth's not as good as oh my god.
No. What do they call reshoots? Is it just reshoots? There's another industry term for that. Is there not?
Well, either reshoot or they've just got to extend the shooting.
The South African tour, which is upcoming and headlined by Bret Hart, is almost sold out. Bret's still a major draw internationally, probably the biggest in the whole business at that point. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Bret was, hitting his stride, and Bret was somebody internationally, as we always go back to and say, the reason that Bret got the initial run as WWE champion was because of his international appeal.
Brian Pillman came out for the Bret Hart interview that didn't take place. He's no longer on crutches and seemed to be walking much better. He brought out Owen Hart, who said that Bret was afraid of Steve Austin. Austin comes out and did a promo on Bret saying if you put the letter S in front of Hitman, that's what Bret Hart is, saying he's worse than a chicken. He's the slimy stuff that comes out of a chicken's butt. So, of course, this isn't quite Stone Cold Steve Austin like at his peak, but boy, we're getting there. You can tell he's getting a little more edgy.
Yeah, and this was an opportunity, where Steve really wanted to get out there, and that was the promos that Steve had cut when Steve was out, Steve coming back from injury, where it was Steve freestyling vignettes that were shot and being put together. This was Steve being Steve. And yeah, it was the beginning of Stone Cold.